Okay, the question at hand is the overlap of equations. And when we're doing overlap of equations, we've got to recognize it's a general shape, okay, of what's going on. And if I look at the graph that we're working with, okay, I have y equals x plus 3. I have y equals 2 over x plus 1. I have y equals negative 2 over x minus 3. Now remember, this kind of combines, and let me get this over here. This kind of combines, and this is all from this equation, y equal x plus 3 plus 2 over x plus 1 minus 2 over x minus 3. Now I hope you see, oops, sorry. I hope you see how those interact with each other and become the separate graphs. Now I've got some people go, how in the world do you know that you can put them together? But I want you to see how the graphs are, and I'm just going to group that equation for a second so I can slide it around a little bit. I want you to see how the graphs are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them up. Okay, I'm going to overlap here. And I'm going to overlap this here. Now there's a general shape that comes out of this overlap. So let's talk about this. When I'm looking at this with 37, okay, I'm talking about, let me get a different color here. Let's do this. Now I'm talking about my slant asymptote coming through. I'm talking about my other asymptotes, my vertical asymptotes coming through. So I've got my asymptotes written on my graph. Now let's get a different color here. And now let's look at the general form of what's happening with each thing when I'm looking at these on my graph. Well, I've got this one coming through here, okay, and it has that horizontal asymptote to deal with. I've got this coming through here, but I've got my slant asymptote to deal with, okay, and then I've got my other part of my slant asymptote with my graph coming down here, excuse me, but coming up back up there. All right, so now I've got that overlapping with my graphs. So I've got to keep this in mind that if I take, excuse me, if I take, okay, nothing's working the way I want it to. All right, if I take those other graphs, the graphs below away, okay, I have my general graph left, okay, coming through here, coming up in there, and that's my graph of this function, right, when I go through. Now, I had a general theme for it. I don't know exactly where everything was, but I had a general theme. So let's talk about the general theme and look at the shape as we construct it. Now, keeping in mind, I've got 38, and we're looking at 38, and let me get back to a better color here. And in problem 38, I'm looking at the function again, so let me slide this back over. I'm looking at the function in 38, y equal x plus 3 minus 1 over x plus 1 plus 1 over x minus 3. Now, I have y equal x plus 3, and I have y equal negative 1 x plus 1, and I have y equals 1 over x minus 3. And I'm kind of encroaching on that, so let's pull those down so you can see what's going on. And again, all I'm going to do is overlap these graphs. Okay, so we're going to overlap them. Okay, and then we have a general form of a graph that forms. Okay. Now, if I bring this up, and now I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Okay, I'm going to get my asymptotes in there. And my asymptotes for this graph come through here, come through here. Got that slant asymptote, got that one at x equal -1, got one at x equal 3. Okay. Now, when I'm looking this over, I have a general form of my graph, and I'm going to get a color here. Okay, as I bring through, I'm going to do that orange again. And I'm not going to cross my vertical asymptotes, so I know I'm going to have a graph of this shape here. Okay, and when I'm going through this, I know that I'm going to have this general shape thing coming through. Now, my slant asymptote is, in there, but it's not really going to have a lot of effect on this graph necessarily. I'm going to be looking at this coming through here, and the reason my slant asymptote's there is because that's about dealing with things on the inside. Well, the only thing inside here, if I look at this, the only thing inside here, let me get a pointer. Sorry, I'm drawing up a pointer. All right, so the only thing inside here is this graph here. And that's here. There's nothing here. And the slant asymptote, okay, can be crossed, and this is in the middle. And it's about how things behave at the ends, okay? So I'm going to be thinking about how this is going to look for my shape, but my graph is above here, and it's above here, okay, as we look this over. So my general form of this graph, let me get my color back, my orange, is going to come across here and come up and come through. So if I was going to say group that, so you guys can see me pull it apart, and I'm hoping that I froze everything else out correctly. Group that, I can pull that out, and that is the shape of my graph. At least I hope it to be the shape of my graph. So that's the general look of it, but that purple thing should not be there, okay? So we'll get rid of it. All right, I hope that helps. And it's just a general look about what's happening. I'm kind of like overlaying the graph, and it's from the different parts of the function as we break it up that make it. It's kind of a neat little deal. So that's the graphing part for 7-4, day 2, problems 34 through 42. Generally, that's what will be going on with those graphs. I hope that went well. Have yourself a great day.